Well, okay, that's not a conversation we're going to be having until 2021, where everyone's going to be thinking of 2024, right? Who's running, who's doing. And
Right.
that's where, look, February 21st, 22nd, 23rd of 2021, everything's going to be just perfect. So at that time is when things are changing for us completely. Considering that we still stay on this timeline, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so once that's over in the summer of 2021, a certain congresswoman will put in the proposal of taking back the 4 years that was stolen from the president. To discuss this on the floor in Congress, and they're going to actually put it through. And this will be done by holding accountable those individuals that actually falsely accused the president, that spent taxpayer dollars hunting the president down on something they already knowingly and willingly did that was false, right? And this is the method and the way it can be ushered in to have exceptions for a third term, because there are always exceptions. Kind of like how there was an exception for Mueller to be an extra 3 years of FBI director, right? There's always exceptions to rules, and this is one of them. He didn't have a full 4 years. So, I've always said Trump Flynn 2020, right? Just saying. So it'll be after the election, if anything.
Okay. Because I've heard something similar to that, a little bit different, but something similar where
Tell
there
me.
is well, there is going to be a reset, but I don't have I haven't got the details, so it's kind of hard to go through that. But it's like, yeah, because of the 3 years, 3.5 years that he's lost fighting these clowns over stuff that is not true. And so therefore he's lost that, and they were going to reset the House back to Republican majority. Now, I don't know how they can do that. That one, I don't understand how that, but that was part of the explanation I got. But
Well,
it's similar to what you're saying, because
I
essentially they were saying you're going to basically erase the 4 years, the first 4 years. In other words, that doesn't count in the two-term conversation.
Well, I've already self-appointed myself on this congresswoman's, you know,
Oh yeah.
I've self-appointed myself. I'm like, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be in your legislation. I can already tell you that I've already got it worded and ready and pulled, so I am going to be helping push that like nobody's business. Now, the remaining Congress, I'm just going to say, the little bits that are still going to remain, that are the most insane ones, are
Mm-hmm.
out the door right after February. Like February, first week of March, they're going to be out the door.
That's a long list.
Well, yeah, but it's a good thing that the congresswoman, knew a lot of, we worked together a lot on this Ilhan Omar stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
we want special elections, when we get them and we parade them around. So, as that comes in, that's how we usher them out, by bringing it to the floor and condemning those that have done that. And once that is passed, they will have to leave because they will be found as such. Now, the question then is, okay, if we remove the remaining clowns and jihadis and communists, because you can't even be a communist and be in Congress. That's like the law.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be they kicked out socialists because they were socialists. Now they're proudly saying, I'm a socialist. And it's like, dude, it's against our actual statutes. Like, what are you doing? So when we get them out with a law, with a bill for others, right? Because we will have majority coming in January.
Okay, I was going to say that's not doable without a majority. Okay.
Yeah, but then we also have to get rid of some Republicans too.
Yeah, yeah, yes, 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 yes.
It's not just Democrats, and it kills me. I have friends, and I'm like, dude, you're talking to this senator, and it's like, do you know who he's evil?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
look at his mustache. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's just one example. But these people are all out for themselves. All you have to do is look at their portfolios. I mean, they report their stuff every year, their financials. Mm-hmm. When you look at their portfolio, you know where their heart lies, and it's definitely not with you. Yep. That's all we need to see. We will have the majority of the House this year. which will be good. But I think we're going to see a lot of changes after after President Trump leaves. America will not be the same in its structure, how it operates. The people have now decided, and that is one of the greatest achievements the president's done, to be active citizens.
Yeah. Okay, financial system. Talk about that.
In what aspect?
What's coming. What do you, because I know you've talked about this a little bit on your show.
A little bit. You mean going back to the gold standard
Yeah.
and watching the world burn? I've talked about it for years. I mean,
Are-
that's the way we get out of everything.
Okay. So are you saying we're going to get rid of the Federal Reserve? Surely not.
Why wouldn't we get rid of monopoly money?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they were already discussing the SHC currency. Why do you think they hate Trump so much? He's going to annihilate the whole world's economy. The only people that are laughing right now, be like, yeah, bring it, is Venezuela, Russia, Brazil, South Africa, African nations that still have their gold.
Right.
You
Right.
know, that's where it's at. Everybody else is going to have to start from zero.
Okay. And when do you see this? When do you see, what do you see on the timeline? When are we going to know this? When is he going to tell the public?
Christmas Eve 2020 when he signs it.
Okay. All right. Because I'm hearing that it's already in place and they're already testing it. And we're going to have to run two systems to get the old out and get the new in.
That's what we're doing right now. That's why we
Right.
don't have coins.
Right.
I had
Yeah.
a lot of people email me about coins, by the way. And just the other day, I went to the gas station to get gas and cigarettes. And the lady was like, hey, you have to give me exact change or you have to use a card. And I was like, huh? And she was like, we don't get any more coins from the bank. There's a coin shortage. And I was like, I see. Okay. So now I saw it. And so this is like dinky gas station around the corner by the bridge,
Yeah.
wall where, the lady's outside smoking cigarettes rather than inside. And she just puts it out, to come in and they have no coins. So no coins. So yeah, we're already doing that. That's when, with his last, move where now the Treasury owns the Fed Reserve. And this is why everyone's so obedient. But, it's gonna be a pretty awesome time. I think 2021, 2022 is gonna be the super honeymoon period.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be kind of amazing that the new children that'll be born then won't be born with debt on their head.
Right.
I think that's incredible. And all these student loans will be forgiven, some mortgages. I mean, almost everything is going to be forgiven. Now, for those that have dollars in their bank account, that'll be substantial, but they'll regulate it, because if you have like $1 million, right, sitting in a bank account and you're paying 15 cents for a burger, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to do that, right?
Yep.
So this is all being worked out right now, from what I gather. But the turn and the signature should be, the John Hancock should be done just the way they did it when they took our power away from a stable economy to their printers at home. Was done on the 24th of December. I mean, our president loves revenge and he loves symbology, right? I mean, that's why he sat in Winston Churchill's seat.
And isn't he using JFK's desk in the White House?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He likes that. I mean, that's like the ultimate troll for all of them. So,
Yeah. And they just hate that too. It just drives them crazy.
yeah, it does. It does. So, so that's what we expect, financially. I mean, this means that any debt we have, it's like, yeah, we don't recognize this currency. Sorry, guys. I know you're all trading on the dollar, but see ya. Peace out. That is going to be like so awesome. I would wish to see the face, but, maybe the queen won't be around for that. I'm hearing, King William's coming up the rank and she might be a little bit sick.
What do you think about that whole thing? That whole, Well, you know about what's his name, Hallett? You know his claims to be King John III. Have you heard anything about that?
No, tell me about it. Ooh,
Well,
tickles my
yeah,
interest.
this guy has sort of emerged, and there's always been a question about the Windsors and whether they're German ancestry and whether they really, deserve to have the throne. And all of a sudden, there's this guy by the name of, I think it's Gregory Hallett, who has sort of emerged on the scene here in the last, I don't know, few weeks, few months, and he's basically claiming to be King John the Third, and he is, saying that he deserves to have the throne. So I don't, I honestly I don't pay much attention to it because to me that whole king and queen thing is just so outdated. It's ridiculous. It's like, okay, so just because you're born, you deserve to rule over people. I mean, that's just so old thinking that I don't really pay much attention to it. But I didn't know if it hit your radar or not. But he's been doing some interviews and he's been claiming that he's King John the Third, I believe. So I just wondered. If you had heard anything about that
Well,
since you mentioned the Queen.
right. Well, I don't know. I haven't delved into that. What I can, let me just tell you what we should be focusing on. How's that?
Okay.
So first things first, this whole bloodline thing and I deserve to rule happens everywhere. It happens on tribal lands too. I have friends that are Native Americans that have land because, they're a descendant of, Sitting Bull or whatever, right?
Right. Right.
So, this is a very ancient type thing because legacy was always important. So legacy is important. Like I work really hard. If I create a business, I want to give that to my kids so they can continue and then they give it to their kids, right? That's the way it goes. Now, as far as the kingdoms go, there are 13 actual bloodlines and um, um, how do I say this without so throughout time and any version of history you may know, there's always been the 13 persons from
Right.
past, present, and future. And you see it as a um, ha, uh, repetitive, I would say, saga. Now, they believe that they own this biome.
Yep.
And so they will do anything to maintain that power since they've been able to do it throughout time.
Right. That's their
So,
whole plan. I mean, that's how they set it up. That's their whole plan. They look out 50, 100 years and say, how can we do this?
right. So the people that we see in our nation trying to usurp us, right, are just the foot soldiers. You understand,
Right.
right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And the people that actually run this, obviously, we know the queen, right? But the bloodlines run deeper than the queen. Those
Mm-hmm.
are the front men, right? The queens,
Yeah.
the pharaohs, the tsars,
The ones. Yeah. The ones we see. The ones
right.
we see.
The
Yeah.
ones we see. You don't see the others.
Right.
So this is a long-standing, kind of sheding. And this change, this new era, this new age that we entered, um, allows people to see it that way, that we are all shareholders here. And we are not individuals to be ruled, but that we rule and govern ourselves collectively. Yes?
Right.
And so this is why I say the face of the United States of America will actually take shape of what was originally set forth in 1776. But like I said, when they signed that paperwork, right? That paper was signed and then taken by a really hot brunette. There's a woman's name on there, right? MK.
Mm-hmm.
So she took the paper, and before the ink was dry, half of the people that signed it were already scamming on how to revert everything that was on there. And we
Mm-hmm.
see the labors of those fruits right, being eaten today with the riots, with the division, with all of this. And today on my show, I played a clip from Eisenhower, which, by the way, YouTube, because I streamed to YouTube, struck that as some song, and I was like, so fair use, and that was the former President Eisenhower talking, not whatever song you said.
Right.
Which was so bizarre. And they also knocked me on hearing Trump's voice saying it was Neil Diamond. I was like, what the, please review.
Oh.
Anyway, during that clip, which was 63 years old, the same thing was going on.
Right.
Where certain areas of the nation did not want to abide by federal mandates. And he had to use the iron fist. Nobody liked Eisenhower. But Eisenhower played the game, but created a certain intelligence group that even until today isn't known about so much.
Okay.
And that kind of stays all in the family. These people that, had access to quantum computing from back in the day. Because, when I tell people the technology we have front facing, right, is at least 50, 60 years behind what we actually have.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I think you're being nice on that estimate from what I've heard, but that's okay.
well, I'm just saying the stuff that Eisenhower had,
Yeah.
we don't even have yet. So he did a really good job in setting up. I actually did a show the day before yesterday, or was it yesterday? Shoot. Look at that. My memory's so bad lately.
Yeah.
I'm working on so many things where I actually showed them. There's declassified documents showing that the government shows you what the perceived thing is, right? And what the actual thing is. And that isn't even half the story. So even the actual that's been declassified isn't really the actual. So, so I just wanted to say, like, history repeats itself all the time because these bloodlines have been able to maintain power so many times over again that they stick to their plan. So you always have to trust the plan. Their plan is a plan that they never veer off of. Trust it because they never veer off. Corrupt people are creatures of comfort.
Yep.
When they go out and they do things that's something novel, look at the crap they did with George Floyd. They look like idiots. That wasn't in the plan.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the plan to make a bill for George. It was, but it wasn't in the plan to give him a flag and parade it around and give him like 100 funerals. So they messed that up. It looked crazy. It wasn't in the plan to paint BLM on streets and even, and hold rallies with no black people, screaming Black Lives Matter. Like, what the heck is going on here? So, they do not know how to adapt because they have a plan. So when you have a goal, you don't adapt to get to the goal. You have a plan because you knew. So, again, Eisenhower foresaw this. And, the agency, that was created was, man, I'm just saying, he's pretty awesome. That's why I like to invoke him every now and then. He played the game and, put in the stops. He put in, I guess he put fail safes, that had to wait for the right time because there's always a right time to respond. So, but you see the Democrats, they're panicking now. They don't know what to do. Their plan's not working. But speaking of plan, I wanted to tell you. So accessing a certain system that I access, I came across a document of the GSA paying a company. Okay. In 2019, September 2019. Now, what shocked me is that this document that was signed, and I tweeted it out, and I was like, oh my gosh, whoever put their signature on there, oh my gosh. So it came out of Scott Peters' office, the Scott Peters Congressional District 50 2 of California, San Diego, right?
Okay.
He had gone with Pelosi and a bunch of Democrats to some UN climate change thing. Anyway, an order was put through DHS through his office, and it was for medical simulation.
Okay.
So the concern that I have is that the types of scenarios they picked, one was to mimic Arizona, the other one was to mimic Chicago, and then they had 3 fishbowls ordered. Fishbowl is kind of like, I'm watching you, it can be applied anywhere kind of thing, like a pop-up tent.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, now this company has been hired to fabricate these things. Guess what? Since 2011, creating, simulation broken legs, heads, blown.
Oh, you're kidding.
Nope, I got all the documents. So
Really?
yeah, and I have the GSA order. So the concern that I have is, so I was talking, if people aren't following Haley Kennington, she says Kennington says on Twitter, me and her talk about everything, right? So I was saying, she was like, but how did they use now? And I was like, dude, maybe this was like their backup if Trump was actually impeached, to like round people up. But they had like fabricated scenarios made to match the city of Chicago so they can train, and match Arizona. So I'm thinking suburbia, right? So they can train, and then 3 fish bowls that are like pop-up tents or whatever, they're applied anywhere. Like you can, kind of like you see the simulation in like a non-backdrop area. Kind of like when we train sometimes, when we want to go into, when we have an operation, we'll have, these people create it, right? Recreate the environment. So then, this is how we train soldiers and stuff, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Let me read to you a part that really freaked me out. Okay. So this company is from a production company, one of the largest independent television and movie studios in the country. And ever since 2002, they have been training and supporting hundreds of thousands of military, law enforcement, and first responder personnel using hyper realistic scenario environments.
So, fake casualties?
Fake casualties, training them on casualties. They even had, get this. So I saw this George Floyd thing floating around, this dummy.
Mm-hmm.
That someone had. Okay, I kid you not. It was on their product page, but it was that you wear it on top of you so people can simulate like doing surgery on you, and you bleed, and it has like organs and stuff, and it's like a suit that you wear. It's kind of like a vest of a chest on top of your chest that you wear so people can actually do surgery.
Right.
I'm just like, what? So we have fake dead people, fake broken, like that stuff looks so real. Remember, this is a TV and movie production company. Now, I just wanted to hold on, let me find it. Like I said, I have a million windows open. Let me just see which one it is. It's this one. Okay. Let's see. So let me tell you about these people for a second. So one of them, let's see, did movies like Renegade, Wings of Gold, Invisible Man, 18 Wheels of Justice, Veronica Mars, did all these movies, right? Another one was worked, he was a soldier. Let's see, another guy, San Diego, which is so weird. Another guy, this guy, he worked for L3 Communications and General Electric, so Soros-owned companies, right? Done. And he's a manager, but he's like the chief finance officer when it comes to all of these things. Hold on. Next guy, U.S. Navy nuclear machinist, right? He retired from the Navy, started work in defense acquisition, right? Okay, medical products and services, right? So this one guy is in charge of medical products and services for strategic operations. Navy vet, reconnaissance corpsman with the Marine Corps, Navy senior enlisted, command master chief for the 1st Marine Division, deployed to combat zones, the whole 9 yards. Director of Canadian Operations. Like, get this. They work for the US government. They have contracts with the US government, which, by the way, even the GSA, when they put it out, they had stuff redacted on the document, like where they were setting up and for what operation they were doing it. Now, what I got it back to was Army combatant. It was coming under that flag, right? Which was super bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't for Army combatant. So it was so weird as to how they formulated this contract with them, because I've done my own share of putting out RFIs and RFPs and even responding to some as a contractor. So
Uh-huh.
this was really bizarre. So just so you know, they valued the effort at almost $1 million. It was 900 and somewhat $1,000. Training model number 1 is Chicago style replica. Training model number 2 is Arizona style replica. Gosh, what does that mean? So, what were they planning? And this was done through limited sources justification. So, this was a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. We got to get this paid because it's orders of BPAs exceeding the simplified acquisition threshold. So, apparently, they put it out and 11 companies came back. But I'm looking at this and it's so sanitized. Like it says, oh, schedule holders for additional training buildings, interior, exterior outfitting in the first quarter of the fiscal year of 20. OFTP plans to expand the redacted to include up to redacted and add additional U.S. city layouts and design. So something was being planned with fabrications mimicking our cities. And it said ICE will post this notice within 14 days of placing the delivery order. So it was done through ICE. So the question is, what medical emergencies do they foresee that they had to or will have to employ through ICE that requires fake dead people, fake blood, fake surgeries, fake mock-ups of saving people that are dying, and this was done just now, this paperwork.
Okay, so
2019 September.
okay, but you said earlier this goes back to 2011.
So the first initial contract that they did with this company was 2011, and so far, from tax dollars, they've gotten $3.8 million collectively.
Because I wonder, what do you know about the Las Vegas shooting?
Well, I'm going to take it back that San Bernardino was actually done by this company.
Well, I'm wondering if Las Vegas was too.
Well, Las Vegas was different. I
Oh,
I have to sombrero you on that.
oh,
I have to sombrero you on that. But San Bernardino, the person was literally a dummy. Like literally a dummy. You could see it. Like from the footage. And it's like, I don't care. Like, I didn't even need to use fancy, software, and different stuff. It was like literally a dummy, like a dummy. You could see it. And I'm like, they're showing it from the helicopter. This is why they stopped the footage, right? From helicopters. Because it was a dummy on the floor. You could see it. The shoulders were square and the head was not even there for the one person. So, San Bernardino for sure, like false flag operation, because it always happens in these training sessions that real people get shot.
well,
And it's
yeah.
real. They all know it's a training session, but suddenly it's not a training session anymore. And it's like, how many times do they have to do this for you to understand that it is a training session? They just want you to think it's real.
And so you're not going to say anything about Las Vegas, huh? You won't
Not
even
yet. Not
tease
yet.
us?
No, not at all. I have to be very careful on that one.
Okay. Because I did a deep dive with some other people on that one.
Yeah, well, I was really close with Laura when she was on that. Remember, she had them change their timeline during the conference.
Yeah.
Live. So I got to keep it, quiet on that one for now, because that's going to be surfacing back up.
Promise?
Oh no, it will. It will be coming back into the surface like November time.
Okay.
When everyone remembers it happened after the elections.
Okay, that's good. Because that's like, in my mind, that's unfinished business.
Yeah, but we got to wait for the next term to get it finished. That's what sucks. I mean, this is I mean, this year is the most insane year ever. They've deployed everything
Yep.
they in
Yep.
their army.
Yeah.
Everything.
I've got to believe they're out of bullets at this point. That gun's got to be empty or close to it.
I think these aren't even bullets. These are like they're throwing poop to the wall and hoping it's first we had murder locust and they decided, well, no, we got to scrap that one. And then they're just like coronavirus. You're not saying that it's not a real thing, but it's highly specific. So it's like, they're milking it. So now it's like, oh, if you're sick, you still have to wear a mask. Just don't put it over your mouth and your nose. And it's like, so then why am I wearing a mask? We have the Dust Bowl, right? We've got this crazy weather. Dams are breaking out. Everyone's on flood watch. It's like biblical or what? I mean, back in the day when they didn't have new high rises, cars, and boats, this would be, biblical.
Yeah.
This would be biblical. So, this is kind of, I mean, they're just throwing anything. They'll try anything. They're spraying as well. I mean, they don't know what to do. They're just like, now we're gonna see what Pelosi's pushing. Oh, we're like fixing this new bill, and it's like, oh man, more garbage.
The crypt keeper. So how much longer are we going to have to put up with this COVID nonsense?